Muted.
And we're recording. Okay, so for those people that are unfamiliar with me, my name is Peter Mingles, and we own something called the Youmongus Ad Network. And the Youmongus Ad Network is a series of classified ad sites that, when integrated and worked together, can really help you build your own identity and brand and recognition on the internet. So when people talk about search engine optimization or SEO, the Youmongus Ad Network can really work together to help you. On this specific recording, I'm doing something for our friend. His name is Frank. And Frank sells used trucks and heavy equipment. So what we're doing right here is I'm showing you a real live presentation of how we're building Frank's site, his own specific Youmongus Ad Network website, and we picked the domain name, used trucks and heavy equipment.com. So I'm going to show you what the beginning part of this looks like. So this is something that's being built literally as we speak, and I just wanted to show you what this would look like. So let me go find it again. Here we go. So I picked a domain name called used trucks and dashes in between heavyequipment.com. And the reason why we chose this one specifically, I'm going to see if I can pull this up in a Word document so you could see it. I'm going to close some of the other working files that I had. I picked this up because if somebody were looking for used trucks in a search engine, they would be able to find it. Or heavy equipment. So having a domain name specific to the things that people would look for is part of the game, if you will, of growing inside the search engine so people can find you. So this is the website. Now the rest of it is going to be or have something to do with the description and the title of your specific ads. So for instance, a lot of people are familiar with Caterpillar. So I think I spelled that right. So if people are going to be buying a Caterpillar bulldozer, they'll probably type in Caterpillar bulldozer in their searches. And I'm going to make something up here. Say, for instance, you live in Tampa, Florida, and that's where you'd like to go buy your Caterpillar bulldozer. More than less likely, somebody's probably going to type that into a search. So what will happen over here is we'll craft the correct ad into that domain name, and we'll use keywords like Caterpillar, bulldozer, Tampa, Florida, and all the other things that would be relative to that inside the ad. And then based on the number of ads, the frequency by which Frank, the owner, posts, and the connections that it has to other things will help people when they're looking under Caterpillars, bulldozers, in Tampa, Florida, find his ad and his site. So that's kind of like the concept. So let's go through what it's like to build the site. I'm going to grab a little magical pen over here. And remember, this isn't the finished version, where this is a work in progress. We put an image up here that we can always change, of course. These over here are called categories, and they're called the parent category, and these are subcategories. The screen that I have frozen right here, you can see, is on bulldozers, which is a type of category. And then as we're playfully putting this together, I asked Frank what kind of brands of the bulldozers are there. There's Caterpillar, there's John Deere. We could do the same thing, of course, with cranes, and we made a category called other equipment. So when somebody clicks on this and they want to see John Deere, they'll see that, again, we were just playing with this. I put an ad for $15,999. Someone could buy this. This is a John Deere bulldozer, as is I put. And then I put over here a picture. I had a loose picture of a telephone, so I threw up a picture of a telephone over there. And in essence, what we're doing with Frank's specific domain name is we're using it almost like an online catalog. So it's his own classified ad site. If he chooses to allow other people to place ads, he certainly could. But we're building it from scratch. So we started off with the skeleton, if you will, and you're going to see how we continue to build it as we go. So I'm going to go to the administration part. So I'm going to close some of these windows. And as you can see, I'm working on other things as well. So let's go to the administration part. And I'll erase this. This part is super simple. Over here we have ad listings, post a new ad, categories, and settings. To see the ads, or a list of the ads, all we do is left click on add listings. So this is the administration portion. If you owned this domain name, you'd go to the domain name /admin and you get into the back office. Inside the back we have ad listings. And this over here lists the different ads that we started to post. If we wanted to edit one, we click on the edit button and we can start to write this ad. And I'm going to come back to this in a second. When I go to my back button, one of the first things we had to do is start to take a look at the organization of the website. So we went to categories. And in categories, we started adding categories. And just to give you a little bit, remember we talked a little bit about this, familiarity on the page. Those are the buttons that are on the very top. We had a button called trucks. And then we have a button called bulldozers. Then we had a button called cranes, and then other equipment. And they were listing from left to right, 1, 2, 3, and 4. And they were what we call the parent category. That's the first one that you see. Now, as I was speaking to Frank, I said, Frank, what kind of trucks are you going to have? And in the trucks, he's going to have Peterbilt trucks, and he's going to have Mack trucks. So we created a new category called Peterbilt and Mack, and we put them under the parent category called trucks. I'm going to show you this again because repetition is going to be somewhat important. And I said, Frank, on the bulldozers, what kind might you have? Caterpillar and John Deere. So we made a new category under bulldozers for Caterpillar. So let's show you what this looks like one more time. I'm going to come up to the top over here, and we're going to go to the admin home. And on the ad listings, if I right-click on this that says View the Site, I'm going to open up in a new window. So I right-click so I can open up a new window. And now some of this stuff will make a little bit of sense. So let me grab my little magical pen. Up on the top of the categories, this is the parent ones. So if you remember, we had home as a parent, and then we had trucks, which was number 1, bulldozers was number 2, cranes, which is 3. Sorry, I can't draw very well with this. So that's number 3. This one's number 4. So you remember that was the parent categories. And then when I come over here, and we went to bulldozers, you can see on that bottom line, it said Caterpillar and then John Deere. Caterpillar would be position number 1. John Deere would be position number 2. When we went to trucks, remember we had Peterbilt number 1, Mack truck number 2. So now, through repetition, it's going to make a little bit more sense. I'm going to go to the ad listings. We're going to go to categories. Again, just some repetition. We said trucks number 1, bulldozers number 2, cranes number 3, other equipment number 4. Under trucks, there was Peterbilt and Mack truck. And say now I decide that, you know what, there's another kind of truck. And I don't know if this is right, so we might have to edit this. But when I come over here and I go to new category, maybe there's a new kind of truck called a, I don't know, Mercedes. I think there is. So maybe there's a Mercedes truck. And I want this one to be position number 3. And I want it to be under trucks. And if I wanted to, I can write this down as a description, although no one ever sees this. And I'm going to click on new category. Well, let's go look at our site. I'm going to right-click on view the site, going to open it up a new window. There's trucks, and there we go in position number 3. So it's right there. Say, wow, that's kind of cool. So I could continue to add different, let's call it a subcategory under trucks. And see, I have all this space to fill if I wanted to. Now there's other equipment. Now, I don't know anything about heavy-duty equipment. So let's say, for instance, we're going to find something else. I'm trying to think of what other kind of equipment for heavy equipment. Let's go to categories. Whoops, actually we're going to add a new category. And let's see. What else? Let's see, you got trucks, categories. I'm going to call it excavator, and I don't even think I'm going to write this right. Like excavator. Or here, paving. I know there's no such thing, but paving equipment. So I'd say, well, I think I want that to be position number. I think I'm up to position number 5. And I want that to be in the home category because I want it up on top. And then I'm going to click on a new category. And as you'll see, we'll right-click, open it up in a new window, and now we have a new category called paving equipment. Well, what if I say I'd really like to have it over here? How would I do that? Well, that's just changing the order. So we'll come over here, and we say paving equipment. Let's change it to number 4. Edit. And let's take what was number 4, the other equipment, and change it to position from left to right, number 5. And edit it. And let's go right-click and open up a new window. And here we go. Paving's number 4. Other equipment is number 5. So really simple to build the architecture of the categories, then the subcategories. That's kind of like the structure. The next part is going to be to place your ads. So we go to add listings and we look at publish or post a new ad. Well, let's imagine I'm going to do a truck. So we're going to find a Peterbilt truck. This is the next part that's important. So I'm going to say Tampa, Florida, because I want Tampa, Florida to be what people might search for, because maybe the truck's in Tampa, Florida. And I'm going to call it Peterbilt truck model, whatever somebody might be looking for. I'm going to call it a Model T. I know none of this is relevant. Then I'm going to come over here to a price of $29,879.00. That's what we're selling it for. And then I'm going to put in the listing. Now, all of this stuff is kind of important. So I'm going to grab this, I'm going to put it over here, because what's in the ad in the first line or so is really important. So if people are looking for Peterbilt trucks in Tampa, Florida, I want them to be able to see this. Model T, and then we'll write, excellent condition, or whatever else my ad is going to be. low mileage, negotiable offer, and then whatever. Call Frank. And whatever else I wanted in the ad. In the location, I might put Tampa, Florida, or if I had an exact street address, I could put that in there as well. My name, which in this example is going to be Frank. You could put in his last name if you wanted to. An email address that would be published, we'd have to put that in there as well. I have one for him on his own domain name, frank@usedtrucksandheavyequipment.com. Phone number if we wanted it. And then if there was a YouTube on this truck specifically, I can even attach a YouTube video to it as well. When I come to browse, this is where I'd find a picture. So I don't think I have a picture of a truck on my computer, but maybe I do. I don't remember. So I'm going to go to my images. This is like my own computer, so bear with me here. There we go. Monster truck. Oh, I do have a Peterbilt truck, so I put a Peterbilt truck over here, and then I open it up, and you'll see it kind of goes into this little browse window, and then I fill in this little capture page, and I click on Post My Ad. Oops, said wrong capture. How can I get the wrong capture? Find my Peterbilt truck again. Images. As you can see, I'm slow, which might give you guys some hope that if I could figure out how to do this, so can you. Come on. Oh, that's because I had it on the truck. And I put in my capture one more time. And it said I posted my ad. So let's go look. While I'm here, I think we had trucks. We looked at Peterbilt. And if you remember, I had my description, Tampa Bay, Florida, Peterbilt truck, Model T. We had the price of $29 whatever. And then this is what I have because I'm still logged in as the admin, where I can edit, deactivate, mark it as spam, or delete. But if you were an end user and you went to go view that site, trucks, Peterbilt, oh, it still has me, I'm cookied in, just so you know, when you're the admin, it remembers that you're in because you might want to deactivate or whatever. End user won't see this stuff, but then you'll see that ad and you can click on that ad and you can see that ad specifically. With that picture that I put, you'll have 4 pictures over here if you wanted to. So realistically speaking, it is that simple to be able to build and then add ads into your own domain name if you had one. But I really know that repetition is everything. So let's go through it one more time. When you're in your ad site and you're building it for like the first time, you'll have to figure out the categories. Categories are those buttons that run across the top. You can have subcategories broken down, like we had trucks and we added Mercedes. Bulldozers, if there was another kind of bulldozer, say for instance, I don't know what the next brand would be, XYZ, you'd say, okay, I guess I have to add a new category under bulldozers. We're going to call it XYZ. How would I do that? You go to New Category, Category Name, Fuji. I'm going to make one up. I don't think there's a Fuji anything. But we're going to call it Fuji, and we're going to go to bulldozers. And we'll make it, I think we had 2, so we'll make it number 3. It's probably like a Fujitsu or something like that. So we go over here to New Category. And we build that. We'll go look at that site. So bulldozers, Fuji. Now, imagine you figure out that, oh shoot, there's no such thing as a Fuji one. How do I edit that? Well, real simple. You come into your ad categories, find the one that's wrong, click on edit, just fix it up over here, and then just edit the category. What if there were no such thing as a Fuji caterpillar or bulldozer? So then you just come over here and delete it, which I'm going to do right now, and it's gone. So then when you go to your page, under bulldozers, there's only 2 now where we added the 3rd and I just deleted it. Super simple. Repetition is what really counts. You develop your architecture. So say, for instance, Frank comes back in and says, you know what, paving equipment, I really don't need that. I should probably make that a subcategory under other equipment. Okay, how would I do that? I'm going to close this for a second. We're going to find paving equipment. And we're going to say, you know what, I think I'm going to make that a subcategory under other. So we'll click on this, the edit. Paving equipment is going to be there, but we're going to put it under other. And I think that would be the first that I have. So when we click on edit, then we go view the site. Guess what? Paving equipment is no longer up on top. It is under other equipment. So you can change things. You're not stuck with this infrastructure forever. It's real easy to be able to kind of design it. And then, of course, if I wanted to delete it, I certainly can delete it as well. So this is how you build one. Categories up on top, subcategories down on the bottom to place your ad. Again, repetition. Go to add listings. You can post the ad. Figure out what category. The name is important because that counts for search engines. Write in your description. Put in the basic information. Add some pictures. Put in the CAPTCHA. Post your ad. Now, there's one little thing that you'll probably find every once in a while. It might mark something as spam. So what you should always do, just as a golden rule, it's probably not spam, it's just that the module that we use to check for spam might designate yours as spam. So if that's ever the case, always, as a rule, copy and paste whatever you have over here. If you don't want to have to write it over, click on View Source and just make a copy of it. So you make a copy of it, put it in a separate text document, for instance, like that would be your ad. I know that doesn't make any sense, but imagine that was your ad. So this way, if you ever did post that ad and it came up as spam, you don't have to retype it all over again. Because one of the most frustrating things you'll ever do is write this really great ad, come down to the bottom, click on post your ad, and it says, oops, this looks like spam, and it's not, and then you have to rewrite the whole entire ad all over again. So right over here is the View Source window. So write your ad, copy it, then when you push the button, if it doesn't get marked as spam, it'll be okay. If it does get marked as spam, you're like, what did I do? Don't even frustrate yourself. Type in anything over here and then publish it, and then you can always go and edit it. So every once in a while you'll get stuck and it will make no sense and I haven't been able to figure it out. So just publish anything and then go back and edit it, and the edited version is never marked as spam, although the original every once in a while doesn't make any sense. And that's really it as far as how to do this. Now there's some other things on the side over here that we can show you just very briefly on. That's what this settings button is. And I won't worry about explaining a lot of this on this recording, but there's some stuff you can put on here if you wanted to. Like say, for instance, if you wanted an ad to disappear after a certain time, you'd be able to set the expiration date. In Frank's instance, he wouldn't set the theme. We already made this theme for him. If you had Google AdSense and you wanted to put your AdSense code in here, you certainly could. If you wanted to charge people for an ad, you can just set it up where they would have to pay by PayPal. There are sidebar considerations or sidebar settings. So if you wanted to add some things to the sidebar or take them away, you certainly could. What's a sidebar? When I come to View Site, everything you see on the side is a sidebar. So say, for instance, I didn't want Google search. Somewhere over here it says search. If I didn't want that there, I highlight this, push it over here, save my settings. Nobody would see search anymore. If I didn't want to translate, say for instance you want a translator, so some people might see it in Japanese. Come over here, push it over. So I'm not going to change the settings, I'm going to leave it the way it was. But that's how you would change those things. I'm going to go back to Advanced User Configurations. This is something that Frank won't play around with, because if we want to add other ads to your site, you would mark this as true, we would do that. And then for Frank, he's not going to do that, so we're going to mark it as false. Now the reason why we wouldn't put any ads on his site is because his site is specific to his category. If you were a home-based business owner and you wanted home-based business type ads, we do those types of things all the time, you might want that listed. So just mark it as false. We'll save these settings. And then again, this is the stuff that's in the settings button, and we can talk about this on another recording. But back to this repetition, you can view your site over here, post your ads over here, add new categories over here. It's super duper simple to be able to set this up. And we kind of listed the same buttons up on the top as we did over here. So you can click on this one and be the same as these two over here. So there's just a little bit of repetition on the site just to make it a little bit easier for you. And that's it. So I'm going to push my button and stop the recording.